Kane County Major Crimes Task Force. With your AM 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Kernan.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's sea to shining sea, and water damage as far as the eye can see. It's America. It's freshly mowed grass and a fence that was freshly vandalized by a pack of unruly teens. It's America. It's also round-the-clock protection when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Celebrating 70 years of serving the Fox River Valley, WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM is proud to inform and entertain you every day with great local shows that keep you connected with the people in your community, like the Radio Shopping Show, where listeners are encouraged to let us know about their experiences with our business partners.
We did the Japanese garden, and they had a free show at the time that we went. We went over to Denny's restaurant where we did the breakfast, and then we head off to Wisconsin Dells. We did the Pirates Cove, the Knucklehead. It was just a fun 3-day trip. So thanks to you guys.
The voice of the Valley and the home of the Radio Shopping Show. You are listening to WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN. Baseball Sunday, the Cubs beat the Cardinals 8-3. Jamison Taillon got the win. He's 7-4. 3 runs on 7 hits over 5 2/3 with 3 strikeouts. Pete Crow Armstrong and Chris Morrell each homered twice. Tomas Nido and Ian Happ also homered for the Cubs, who split the 4-game set. Alec Burleson went deep for St. Louis. The Cubs headed to the All-Star break 47-51. 5th in the NL Central, 8.5 games out of first place, a half game behind 4th place Cincinnati. The Cardinals, 50-46, 4.5 games behind first place Milwaukee. The Pirates beat the White Sox 9-4. Joey Bart and Brian Reynolds went deep for Pittsburgh. Andrew Benintendi and Luis Robert Jr. each had 3 hits for the White Sox, who've lost 4 straight in 10 of 13. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
As part of summer's greatest hits, it's the first ever Macy's All-Star Week. Join us for an incredible lineup of live events in store every day, like fashion shows, beauty demos, and more fun for the family. Now through Tuesday, July 23rd. Plus, shop our best summer deals, like 50% off swim, sandals, and more. And exclusives just for Star Rewards members. You don't want to miss this. Go to Macys.com/events to see what's at your local store. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss.
Ever take your car through the auto emissions lane only to experience the sinking feeling that your car has failed the test? Don't fret. Let Meineke at 376 Sundown in South Elgin fix the problem for you. Meineke's mechanics will determine the exact problem with your vehicle and suggest necessary repairs with Meineke's diagnostic service. Pass that test with help from the trained Meineke technicians. Call today for your appointment. 847-888-9644. That's 847-888-9644.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. No matter the time of the day, WRMN 1410 AM is your platform to voice your views, share your stories, and connect with the Valley like never before. We're more than just radio. We're a community conversation that's always live, always local, and always looking for your input. Want to chime in on the drive time deal with Matt McNeil? Got a hot tip for first shift with Marky B? Or maybe you've got a question for a one-on-one with Leah. Now's the time to make your voice heard by calling Studio 14 at 847-931-1410. That's 847-931-1410. You can join in the dialogue from wherever you are by commenting on our YouTube live streams at WRMN Radio. Hit the subscribe button to get notified when we go live and bring your comments to the table. It's easy, it's fun, and hey, it's what neighbors do. We talk, we listen, we engage. You're not just the audience, you're part of the show. Call in, comment, and let's make radio interactive. WRMN 1410 AM, where your words are part of our wavelength.
In the mood for some great barbecue but just don't have time to make it yourself? Carry out Coleman's Barbecue on Elgin's East Side at 79 Clock Tower. Coleman specializes in ribs, tips, chicken wings, seafood, and sandwiches with sides like coleslaw, potato salad, and dessert. Try Coleman's exotic mild sauce. It's the bomb. You can also buy sauce in gallon or pint sizes. It's prepared just right. The Coleman's way. Call 224-535-8153.
In the middle of the night, everything will be all right if you listen to Coast right here on WRMN, 7 days a week from midnight to 5 a.m. Each night on Coast to Coast, listeners are captivated by George Noory with discussions on news and current events, conspiracy theories, UFOs, life after death, and all things curious and unexplained. Coast to Coast, every night, midnight to 5 a.m. right here on WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
My name is Dennis Sonar Green. I will be taking you through the next hour. Why just the next hour? Well, it's Monday. You only get 1 hour of me. You only get 1 hour of Out to Lunch. That's because the marvelous Open Book by the Gail Borden Library comes on after me. Fantastic show, bringing the community together and talking about the Gail Borden Library here in downtown Elgin. Why do I say here in downtown Elgin? Well, you ask so many questions, but that's okay. I'm here to answer them. Right here in downtown Elgin is exactly where our studios are. Studio 14, right off of Douglas, in case you are wondering. Studio 14 is right across the street from the new shawarma stop and now the new Stop and Dip. There's lots of new things that are happening right here on Douglas Street. So if you want to be a part of it, you want to see what's happening, come on down, Fox River Valley. Come on down. You can stop at the shawarma Stop and Dip is what I'm doing, is I'm kind of combining them anymore. Because it's hard for me to say shawarma stop and dip. There's too many stops. Stop by the shawarma stop and dip. It's too confusing. So across the street from Studio 14 is now the new shawarma Stop and Dip. Way faster, way easier. I'm going to market it up, draw up some plans, and take it next door. See if we can get some people working together. Thank you all for jumping into Out to Lunch. This is your show for you, your ideas, your stuff. Right here. We've got some interesting guests to talk about here weekly. Coming up this week, in fact, we will be talking about the Kane County Fest over at the Kane County Fairgrounds. I believe it's the Kane County Fair. Apologize. Festivals, fairs, jamborees. I got to bring in a party expert, I suppose. After that, that's going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow we're talking with that. Also, Jeff Myers is coming in to take over an hour of Out to Lunch as well, because we are going to talk about the casino. The casino right here in Elgin getting dropped in the water 30 years ago. Oh my gosh, it's hard to remember anybody was around back then. So far away, 30 years ago, a different time period, a different universe. We've got some more things that are here, and to lead into it, I want to take this joint statement from the Kane County State's Attorney, Jamie L. Mosser, and Kane County Sheriff Ron Hain. This is for immediate release. Kane County Attorney's Sheriff announced increases security for political events. This is from St. Charles, Illinois. We are horrified by the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Political violence has no place in the United States, and we must all condemn this abhorrent act. In a democratic society, violence is never the answer. No one should have to risk their life to run for office, attend a political event, or advocate for a cause. Our thoughts are with the former president and his family. We extend our deepest condolences to the family of Corey Caparatore, the brave firefighter who sacrificed his life to protect his loved ones. We are also praying for a swift recovery for the two individuals who were critically injured. To ensure the safety of our community, Kane County law enforcement will have extra patrols at every political event going forward. We must unite as a nation to denounce violence and promote a peaceful democratic process. Well said, well said. That's a joint statement from Kane County State's Attorney Mosser and County Sheriff Hain. It does bring a tone. It does bring us to what I guess transpired over the weekend was the assassination attempt of a former president and political candidate. So there's a few different layers to that, and we can go into it this week. I know we've got a lot of guests. We don't want to necessarily step on their stuff for political side of it. So we will have something later on this week, more than likely Wednesday. We are putting together a show about systematic terrorism, which essentially is, won't somebody do something about this? Enough people keep saying things, somebody eventually will do it. There's a lot of things that are moving around, a lot of things that are up in the air still. We do know there was an attempt. We do know there was a person. We do know there were victims. That's about as far as we go. Anyone else who says otherwise is speculating. Please, 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 people, let's use our media literacy. And social media is kind of like the comic books that your mom warned you about. Oh, if you read the comic books, it'll warp and melt your brain. Yeah, real comic books and graphic novels don't really do that, but social media will. So please stick to the facts. Now, if social media wants to point you in a direction, that's perfectly fine, but follow it the rest of the way. Do not take a meme, do not take a bumper sticker, do not take a quote as red letter, as the word of God or anything else. We have to follow the actual facts. And if somebody's leading you to somewhere, make sure that other people are going that direction too. Not into the point of like, oh, well, this is where we all, the sheeple type of thing. You're checking to make sure you're going the right way. If you're walking down a trail and everybody who's coming in front of you is sweaty and just huffing and puffing and everything else, that's probably not the end of the trail that you're walking towards. Those people just came from a long hike. If you're looking for the end, hey, kick it to the people who are tired. So use your context clues, use the tools around you, and by all means verify not only your sources, but use your sources to verify each other. 2 or 3 sources should be talking about the same thing. Use tools like Adfontes. They do a great job of grading where news comes from. Media Matters is another great one too. But do not use that social media as absolute truth. Don't use me either. Sorry. Hate to tell you. Like, oh, listen to me. I'm there to tell you everything. No, I can't. I can't possibly tell you everything, and I can't possibly be 100% unbiased. The only way for you to be or get the information that is unbiased is to eat a bunch of biased things, right? You want to know what best hot dog is there? Sorry, got to eat a bunch of hot dogs. Can't turn around and stick with one Nathan's or any other types of hot dogs that are out there. I guess Vienna beef is the other one. So if I turned around and never tried a Vienna beef hot dog, yeah, of course I would think Nathan's is the best. You never know until you try. You never know until you read. You can never figure out from there. So if you do want to read that statement, you can contact Nicholas Jens Nicholas at CaneCountyIllinois.com. That's the joint statement that they are going to increase security at the political events going forward here in Kane County. Lots of other things that are happening in Kane County. August 3rd, car and motorcycle show. Saturday, August 3rd. Rain date, if it does get delayed, would be the 17th. That's 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Registration opens at 9 p.m. $20 cash per show car. That includes a lunch. Hello. DJ and music, food and beer garden, and indoor AC. Beginning of August, my goodness, if you guys were over at the Rib Fest, you know that indoor AC is the way to go. 50-50 raffle, sponsorship opportunities, and a vendor fair if you want to get into it. Trophies for various classes, free entry for spectators, $20 per car if you want to get in there. Gilbert's Eagles Club, that is 325 Raymond Street, Gilbert's, Illinois. Eagles 1047 car show at gmail.com for more information, or get your pens ready, 847-695-7919. Again, 847-695-7919 for that car and motorcycle show. So if you've got a motorcycle that looks like a car that looks like a motorcycle, hey, you are in business. Gilbert's Eagles Club, 3rd annual, Saturday, August 3rd. August 4th, if you want to head to another one, that Sunday, Classic Car Show. This Classic Car Show has a registration of $15, 9:30 a.m. to noon. Top 40 awards are done by 3:30, judged by the Rolling Devils Car Club. Hey, you can jump in as a Rolling Devil Club member. Celebrity guest judge Jamie Hynem from the Netflix series Tex-Mex. Motors and Going to wield 3 additional custom awards. Will your ride get her attention? Along the Fox River, South River Drive, Prairie Street, Grove, right here in Elgin, the GPS Festival Park, presented by the Elgin Heritage Foundation, partners and sponsors, Elgin History Museum, the Rolling Devils Car Club, All Around Home Improvements, Roxworthy Enterprises, AJL Electronics, Marge and George Rowe. Hey, there's going to be a barbecue that's there, and you can show off those cars. Make sure that you can go and get those things as they move through. So let me get one more car show that's happening. That is going to be on the 20th. That is Voodoo A Go-Go 2024, July 20th, the Plains Elk Club, or Elks Lodge, rather, apologize for you in the lodge. Pre-1985 vehicles only, though. So if you've got one of those cyber trucks, I'm sorry, you can't bring it in. $20 per vehicle. If you're a spectator, you get in there for free. They're asking for a $5 donation, though, if you wouldn't mind. Showtimes, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Registration for the cars begin at 9. Food, trophies, raffle prizes, of course, the 50-50. Outdoor grilling, beverages, tables, and chairs. All proceeds benefit Illinois Elks Children's Care Corporation. Music by Wild Card Rumble. So there's going to be some great things out there July 20th over at the Des Plaines Elks Lodge, number 1526. That's over at 495 Lee Street, Des Plaines, Illinois. That is for the Voodoo Kings right there, the Voodoo A-Go-Go, July 20th. So we're going to continue the Voodoo talk. We're going to probably hit a break, though, and go into our Voodoo talk. We've got Mike Napolitano. I hope I didn't butcher it too terrible there, Mike. The Voodoo Podcast. We're going to talk a little bit about what he does over there at the Voodoo Podcast and how long it's been going on in the struggles of this new media as it moves through. Hey, those of you that know about Nightmare on Chicago, hello. This is the guy to talk to for it. We just got over with Wrmn. If you know anything about that, stay tuned. If you don't know anything about that, definitely stand by. There's a meme out there that was somebody didn't know who Beetlejuice was, and it just hit me in the heart. So I'm trying to get more of the spooky out there as much as we can. Gearing up for Halloween. Christmas keeps coming earlier and earlier. Maybe we shove Halloween back a little bit. More to talk about it. Mike from the Voodoo Podcast. Stay tuned. You're listening to Out to Lunch. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. We'll be right back after these.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us, too, in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Discover the authentic taste of Italy at Mazziano's Pizza and Pastaria at Route 20 in Nestler in Elgin. There is one true fact of everyday life that never dulls: the simple pleasure of eating great Italian food. At Mazziano's, they'll make sure your dinner or lunch will be the best part of your day. Whether you have a taste for pizza or any of Mazziano's homemade Italian recipes, like ravioli or lasagna, they can also cater your party. Enjoy it any way you like: delivery, carry-out, or dine-in. Visit Mazzianos.com.
America's First Responders Fest, Saturday, September 7th at Panton Mill Park, South Elgin, Illinois. Join us Saturday, September 7th for America's First Responders Fest. The South Elgin event will pay tribute to veterans and all first responders. This year's event includes Rapid Response 5K and Fun Run starting at 10 a.m. The festival hours are 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. We'll have first responder stage tributes. There will be a classic car show from JP Car Shows. Live bands featuring Deacon Frost, Rick Lindy and the Wild Ones, Jimmy Nick, and the Junkyard Groove. We'll broadcast live right here on WRMN 1410 and at WRMN Radio on YouTube. There will be food and beverage trucks, kids' activities, and market-style vendor booths. For more information and updates leading up to the event, please visit afrfest.org. Again, that's Saturday, September 7th. For more information, visit afrfest.org. That's America's First Responders Fest, Saturday, September 7th. At Panton Mill Park, South Elgin, Illinois.
keeping your car's coolant system in good shape with a regular flush is really important. Let the experts at Meineke Car Care Center at 376 Sundown Road in South Elgin remove your old coolant, preventing chemical buildups in your engine. Then they'll fill your entire system with new coolant to help your engine run smoothly and prevent rust and corrosion, increasing your engine's lifespan. To schedule your appointment, call 847-888-9644.
The lightest, fluffiest pancakes are calling your name at JoJo's Diner, 1935 West Gulf Road in Schaumburg. JoJo's has a huge breakfast menu featuring skillets, eggs Benedict, and so much more. Don't stop at breakfast. JoJo's also offers great burgers, sandwiches, and shakes. And for mouth-watering prime rib, try JoJo's for dinner. They have such a versatile menu. JoJo's Diner is family-owned and operated, and it's one of Schaumburg's best-kept secrets. Visit jojosdiner.com today.
This is McGruff the Crime Dog, and I need you to help me take a bite out of crime. Counterfeit products are popping up everywhere. Fake sneakers, fake cosmetics, and even fake pills. Crooks are selling counterfeit versions of just about everything. Last year, billions of dollars worth of counterfeit products were sold in the U.S. Sure, it may seem like saving a few bucks on the things you want isn't a big deal, but counterfeits are usually made in unsafe conditions, potentially using hazardous and even lethal ingredients that could harm you and others. And the money you've paid, it goes right into the hands of criminals and may support child labor, drugs, and even gangs. Smells like big crime to me. So if you still think buying fake products is harmless, think again. And remember, if you don't know where the products came from, how could you know where the money goes? You're smart, buy smart. Go for real. Learn more at mcgruffpsa.org. This message is brought to you by the United States Patent and Trademark Office and the National Crime Prevention Council.
Wrmn. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. I'm taking you through the next hour of Out to Lunch. It is about ready to come around 28 after. Those of you checking your times, here we go. 5 seconds left, almost there. I'm just stalling. 28, there we go, right on the money. I love it. I love atomic time. I love being in sync with the world. It makes me feel safe, numbers, you know, and sometimes out here in the world, we do need to feel safe. Other times in the world, we need to feel scared. We don't always need to feel safe, but we need to feel scared safely. I know that's an oxymoron, but you ever go to like Six Flags where they do the horror nights, or you go to a haunted house, or you do a hayride or something like that? These people that dress up and participate in these things, a lot of times they're volunteers, and a lot of times they work on their costumes all year round, especially now. Now's the time for them to test things, get the foam shaped correctly, to make sure that the hair that they ordered is the correct shade. I mean, this is the time that people are prepping to spook you. We've now moved to almost all of Halloween being most of October, the spooky season as it's moving. By all means, we try to force the Thanksgiving. We try to give in to the apples and the festivities and everything else. But you know, lurking in the back of your mind, there's a spooky monster just around the corner. And until we hit that magical end of October, we can't fully appreciate the fall season. So I think that this is the reason that we have such admiration for horror movies and things like that, is we need to get rid of the scary. We need to go, okay, let's face our fears. Let's do this. Then we can feel thankful. Once you feel thankful for your things, then you start to realize, hey, what are the things that I don't feel thankful about? And that may be where your Christmas comes in and the celebration of your family, and then you get to fill those gaps with your family. So Halloween starts the process. And part of that are the makers, the shakers, the movie makers almost. And with me today, I have Mike Napolitano. Thank you very much for being in here today with me, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. And what an intro. You summed that up perfectly right there. It's the best time of the year. It's the best season and all the smells. And I think you kind of just summed that up, encapsulated that really nicely. And
well, I wanted to get my talking done so I can hand it off to you.
No,
Tell me of
absolutely.
the interesting things that you've got going on, because we just finished Summerween as well, right?
Right, yeah. And I will be honest, I didn't even realize that that was so celebrated until this year. And people were
Really?
telling me that, oh, yeah, this is Summerween. And I've always done some of the year-round haunted houses.
Mhm.
There's a couple of them if you're in the haunt industry. I call it more the haunt industry rather than Halloween because people get annoyed when you're doing year-round Halloween stuff. But there is an industry here. And, you know, when these haunts open up for the halfway to Halloween, now it sounds like they're going to start shifting over and becoming the Summerween events that they're putting on. So it's crazy to see that it's caught on to the level that I think I've been at for a while now. But we started our home haunt back in 2013, Voodoo on Vassar. It's the street we're on over in Schaumburg. And it just has grown. It started out as a garage. Now we are a full-blown home haunted house. The driveway, the double-door garage, up and around the backyard, tons of actors, which is mostly my friends and family that are willing to help and put on the show with me. But I thought with all of my media skills, is there a better way that we can kind of keep that feeling in your chest like year round? And I thought, well, nobody wants to listen to a weekly type podcast about this kind of stuff. That's a little much in like March, April, May. But if we did a monthly podcast to kind of stay in the industry, you know, people will listen. And it has gotten quite the response. And my co-host Matt Nossid comes on and does the Haunter's Hack so that people at home at other haunts wanting to learn this industry secrets about how to build or create a certain display item or scene, you've got the tools in your back pocket, or at least you know the people to contact. And those people would 100% be, other than our own podcast, the Chicago Haunt Builders. I don't know, have you ever heard of the group, Chicago Haunt Builders? They are a Chicagoland-wide group that started out as just an email thread, and they've grown into, I don't even know how many people are in this Facebook group now. It's a Facebook group. So it's massive. And the response is great. If you know anything about the holiday compared to you threw in Christmas is the Griswolds. Everybody's trying to have one more light than the next person, and it's a competition.
Yeah.
Whereas Halloween, it is a collaboration, and everybody chimes in to help others on how do I fix this prop, or how do I create something that I've seen at a different house? And they come together, and it's just an outstanding group. And there's not enough time or enough words to describe how amazing some of these people are. But I figure let's get a podcast going and start talking to these people, and also those haunt actors and actresses, the volunteers, and even some of the paid workers at some of these haunts that you were just alluding to as well.
And I think a lot of people talk about keeping Christmas in your heart all year round, right? You know, You've got this, the magic of Christmas can stay with you for the entire time. I think logistically, just practically, I think the fear of Halloween can stay in your heart a little bit longer year round. And I don't know if that makes it more powerful, less powerful, et cetera, et cetera. But there are people that feel that way about Christmas. It's like, oh, we've got to keep this thing moving. This is it. But there's not too many people that keep their nativity scene up all year round. You guys turn around and say, okay, here at Voodoo, we're gonna say this is the haunted house on the block, and keep it that way. And how hard is it to, like you said, in the springtime, or these celebrations of life and festivities and everything, how hard is it to be like, hey, we're still over here?
Yeah, and it's something that I struggle to balance as well because, like you mentioned, people try to extend Christmas, and maybe it's because I'm a November birthday, but Thanksgiving comes first, man. I want my turkey. So I kind of dread as that clock hits midnight on Halloween or Dia de los Muertos, and then all of a sudden everybody is in Christmas mode, and the peppermint spice lattes come out and everything, but everybody gripes that I am that way with Halloween, and I want to stress that I'm not.
Because it is July, by the way.
Right, yeah. And here we are talking here. I am wearing a sweatshirt in 82 degrees, but it's to represent our merch. But with Christmas, it gets diluted for me because it's supposed to be this family-oriented holiday and this celebration, and then they start it 2 months before it's even, you see the Santa Claus blow-ups in the stores now in August, and it's like, all right, you're kind of diluting it. So I struggle to stay on both sides of that line with Halloween, is to not dilute it too much and not stretch it out year round, but to still keep you informed on like all these events that are going on, like they do year-round haunted houses, and keep you in the know about these different personalities that bring these magnificent haunted houses or decorated houses to you. But yeah, if you were to extend it, that's why the actual Halloween, when you get those smells in the air, and like you talked about that kind of feeling you get in fall, nothing will replicate that throughout the rest of the year.
It's true.
But
yeah, I can't get that on the beach.
Right. Yeah, no, you're not going to. You could still, go around and feel scared at certain times. And some of my friends have started to do the live, or real haunted hunting or ghost hunting or whatever. I'm a skeptic when it comes to that kind of stuff, but we will cover it. And we've been to Bachelor's Grove Cemetery and a couple others. I was actually looking up some in Elgin. There's these 2 towers at what used to be the Elgin. Well, I think it still is the Elgin mental facility, and mental health center campus. And this is just a real old, creepy building. I drove by during the daytime, but of course, we only have 2 seasons here in Chicago, and that's winter and construction. So, of course, there was construction going on around the area, and being there in the daytime, it's not too scary, but, I could see it being creepy at night. But Elgin has its historic aspects, too, and I think that's why, not to transition to points too quickly, but that's a great way to segue into Nightmare on Chicago Street, which you guys have right here in Elgin, literally right on these streets.
Oh, absolutely. And as a holiday expert, how long should, when should I start the celebration of a holiday for it? So like we talked about, like, okay, well, people start too early. People do this like maybe 2 weeks before the holiday. Should we start doing something? Like, is there just a this holiday lives in my heart forever, so it doesn't matter what day it is for people? But for like the rest of us that are trying to jump on board with it, is it like right before, or should it be for there? Because the way I'm asking this is because it feels like the haunting industry can be separated from the holiday.
Yes. Yeah.
Easier than any of the other holidays. Now, maybe Valentine's Day might be the only other one that you're like, you should love your spouse all the time. Well, yeah, that's why they're my spouse. Like, that's there. But as far as Halloween and the horror aspect of it, it doesn't always have to be like a Summerween or a Nightmare on Chicago or Dios de Muertos. It doesn't have to be all of that. Where should we kind of just like pick up the holiday and carry on with the horror?
Well, it's timely that you brought that up because this year we have a Friday the 13th in September.
Wow.
So I know a lot of haunts are opening early just to kind of capitalize that. There's already a lot of haunts that like to extend into September. If they're open early, they feel, it's an extra couple weekends that they can make some money and pay their actors, and also, bring in the clientele that otherwise is busy during the actual season. Of course, you have the back end of it that, they stay open for the Dia de los Muertos or a couple weeks after, so that haunters like us that run our own, sometimes we can't leave our front yards. So we don't get to go out and see everything until we tear down on Halloween or November 1st. So if a haunted house is open into November 9th, depending on how the weekends fall. Sure, let's go. Let's have some fun. But this year is an extended year. I think they're going to utilize a lot more of September than the commercial haunts usually do, and for some home haunters too. We won't know until the Chicago Haunt Builders lists and the Haunted Illinois lists come out for the residential ones. But other than that, in normal years that we don't get that, like last year we had a Friday the 13th in October.
Yeah.
And you better believe I was at some of the major haunts for that one, no matter rain or shine, and it was raining that night. But for normal years, I would say enjoy the holiday for the month of October. Enjoy the actual holiday, because that's when, like we talked about, you have the weather changing for the most part. I know Illinois weather is kind of crazy, but you have the weather changing, you have those smells in the air, you have just the overall experience of going around and seeing certain houses start to put their stuff up, the leaves start to fall, all that, everything that plays into it. But don't celebrate it year round, but definitely listen to our podcast year round. That's a way to kind of dip back into it and listen and be excited for what's to come this next year. A lot of times when we get these actors from the haunted houses on, or even the home haunters, they're kind of hinting at what they have planned for the next year. Like you said, there's a lot of these people that are working on things year round. A lot of people in their garages that are adding something to their display, and now you're excited to go and see them. Maybe you haven't seen them before, and they're going even bigger. I haven't even seen them to begin with, so put them on the list, right? And let's go drive around. And that's where my love started. Is my parents, when I was real young, took me to the South Side houses, because we lived in Westchester and we weren't too far from the famous Forest Avenue in North Riverside. And it's a small block, maybe 6 to 8 houses, but one guy got all of his neighbors to use their attic space for some of his props and then do a different scene on each lawn. The entire block was decorated.
Wow.
The city would block off the street so that people could trick or treat or even walk around on non-Halloween nights and see everything that they had going on. There was a small polar bear ice cream, there still is, at the end of the block that would sometimes even stay open into October. Who wants ice cream in October? It's cold out. But hey, if there's a million people on the block, might as well make a few extra dollars and give somebody, an ice cream cone while they're walking around seeing the decorations. So my love started at a young age, and it has grown into what it is now.
That's awesome.
So, yes, just October. Don't go too crazy.
So we shouldn't start on Summerween.
There are, like I said, there are events. You mentioned Valentine's Day. There are these different haunts the commercial haunts that open up for Love Bites.
Oh, really?
All this other kind of stuff. Halfway to Halloween, Summerween. I would encourage you to go. It's a chance that you can see a haunt in a different setting, because sometimes the sun's still out. Sometimes, it's a lot warmer out. You're in a t-shirt rather than a sweatshirt and sweatpants, or these haunt actors are working on crafting a different style throughout the year. Like, we just actually went to a summer event at Disturbia Haunted House in Downers Grove this past weekend, and it was their Summer Screams is what they called it. And, so they're out in like this zombified lifeguard suit. They're on rollerblades. They've got like the pit vipers on, but they're still a clown or a zombie. So it's a nice. They got the Hawaiian shirts on with the leis, but it's a nice change of pace, and maybe you won't be as scared. That's another thing too for people who are a little bit nervous to go through a commercial haunted house. Maybe you start there. Maybe you start when the mood's a little bit lighter. You're still going into the haunted house, and their job is still to scare you. But, in the line, it's a little bit more of a party now, rather than, it has to be Halloween. It has to be scary. This guy has to get all up in my face. So
a zombie chasing you in like a military or a doctor's coat, or like an insane asylum, something like is really scary.
Right.
A zombie like chasing you in like a Hawaiian shirt and flip flops may not be like as terrifying.
He's the vampire lifeguard, but all he does is blow the whistle at you. Yeah. So it's a little bit different. But yeah, I would encourage you to go out and at least see some of those throughout the year. They put on a great show. They work very hard. And like I said, it's all in preparation for what they're going to show you come the actual season. So these people are working on their craft, their costumes year round, and making things different to stand out and impress you, or scare you by impressing you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good there. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the events that are coming up. Like I said, we just passed Summerween, which I guess is something from Gravity Falls, because Gravity Falls in Oregon, Gravity Falls, Oregon, loves Halloween so much. They have Halloween twice a year, and that's where Summerween comes from, or at least that side of Summerween. And that's, I guess, how weird holidays grow. I mean, September, I'm looking forward to September 19th, International Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Oh,
and so feel free to listen to that show. There's lots of different things that are coming in. Also, we'll talk a little bit more about about Nightmare on Chicago. Yeah. I haven't been part of it yet, so I can't wait to just be part of it. I keep hearing all about it. You guys will hear all about it right after these. You're listening to Out to Lunch. My name is Dennis Green. See you on the other side.
Opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
This summer, get outside and enjoy a quick round of golf at the Twin Lakes Golf Course in Palatine. Twin Lakes features an executive 9-hole golf course with a driving range, cafe, and pro shop. Just starting the game, lessons are available. Take a couple of hours for yourself and stop at the Twin Lakes Rec Area off Northwest Highway and hit the links. For a tee time, call 847-934-6050. Visit the Milwaukee County Zoo this summer to enjoy so many species of fun. Home to more than 2,200 animals, representing over 340 different species. The zoo educates, entertains, and inspires. Stomp back in time with the zoo's summer exhibit, Dinosaur Discovery, sponsored by Sendix Food Market. You'll be astounded by the gigantic and scientifically accurate animatronic displays. Touch, feel, and learn about the role of predators in the ecosystem. Running through October 5th. Visit MilwaukeeZoo.org.
As the Elgin Police Department continues to participate in the Distracted Driving campaign, they wanted to share some tips from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration website regarding safe driving. If you are expecting a text or need to send one, pull pull over and park your car in a safe location. Once you are safely off the road and parked, it's safe to text. Designate your passenger as your designated texter. Allow them to access your phone to respond to calls or messages. Do not engage in social media scrolling or messaging while driving. Are you struggling not to text and drive? Activate your phone's Do Not Disturb feature or put your cell phone in the trunk, the glove box, or the back seat of your vehicle until you arrive at your destination. Remember, the Elgin Police are conducting directed patrols to enforce distracted driving violations. Just drive and stay safe. A message from our friends at the Elgin Police Department and your friends here at WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Welcome back to Out to Lunch. My name is Dennis Onar Green. I've been talking with Mike from the Voodoo Podcast. He is our Halloween expert, our holiday Halloween expert. If you've got any questions about Halloween or the Chicago scene of the Ween, that would be the guy to talk to, Mike from Voodoo Podcast. But you do more than just the Voodoo Podcast, sir. I've seen you do other things, talk about other things out there in the world, especially having a microphone in front of you. Because the Voodoo Podcast is only once a month. What do you do in the meantime?
That's a good question. Everything and anything I can. So Tuesday radio show at Illinois Media School.
Okay.
Where I know you...
Sportstown, right?
Sportstown, Chicago.com. And that is the Mike on the Mic show, where we talk all Chicago sports. And then we had a couple of podcasts for a minute there. We've been a little bit lazy on getting those back, but talk a lot of hockey if we can. I've been a guest on the Divided podcast, which is also on Spotify, where you can find the Voodoo Podcast. But you can also find Voodoo on Apple Podcasts and I believe Google Casts.
Oh, cool.
I have to double check the back end of it and make sure we're on everything.
So Google Podcasts is merging essentially into Google.
Yeah,
that's the thing, is they're moving that. I think Workspaces is moving as well. So Google's, I don't want to get into a little bit because it'll make me ring my bell. But what's happening is Google is starting to kind of shave some departments that they kind of overexpanded into to kind of counteract any antitrust that's coming around. If they turn around and say, well, you're the largest search engine and you're the largest email person and you're the largest podcast provider and you're the largest, so what they're doing now is they're starting to shave some of these services off, which arguably should be what they do, diversify it a little bit more, but that's the reason is they're moving some stuff around. Right now, Apple, number one. Apple, I think YouTube is behind it, and then Spotify comes in on third on the podcast rank.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. But if you're on Spotify, then you're on Apple as well. So everybody who's out there, just find your favorite podcasting platform and look up the Voodoo Podcast or Mike on Mic, right? Mike on the Mic?
Mike on the Mic, yeah.
Mike on the Mic.
That one is just on Twitch and wherever we stream from IMS. I believe it's... I think it's just on Twitch.
I think it's just on Twitch.
It used to be TuneIn Radio, but I'm pretty sure it's just Twitch now.
So you can go to twitch.com/Sportstown Chicago, I believe, is the Twitch URL for that.
Yeah.
More things to come about with WRMN as well. We're going to start doing some podcast highlights for things because, like we said, we want you all to go out there and experience more information, more people, more ideas, more stuff. Do not just listen to me. Listen to me, sure, yeah, by all means. Hey, hello, I'm here. But please go out, get some more ideas. Free speech is part of this. And so that's kind of what I want to just dig a little bit. I want to pull a little political out of you, just a little bit. This is where I think and I know it's maybe a hot topic, but this is where I think some of the drag laws kind of interfere with some of the things that you're trying to do. Because what if I decided to put on haunted carnival, right? Lots of people have haunted carnivals for things. It's a very good trope to lean into as far as like a theme. Because you can have like a haunted hospital, haunted graveyard, but like haunted carnival with clowns and everything else.
Yeah.
Bearded lady. So if I wanted to turn around in our carnival as a man who has a beard and wanted to maybe put on not necessarily a fat suit or anything like that, just wanted to be the bearded lady zombie, this is where that free speech and our First Amendment of how to express myself and the things that I wear kind of conflict. Where do you guys, well, obviously with the decency side of it, but where is the haunting decency? Is there like a line where you guys turn around and say, you know what, possessed toddlers is where I draw the line here, or like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Is there something there? And to add to that question, are laws kind of getting in the way of and kind of forcing some of those where you wouldn't normally have that line?
Yeah, I haven't really thought too deeply on this, but you bring up a good point, and I think that's where diversity in the workplace is actually a very important topic, because you have these haunts that have members of all these different communities. So when you go to dress somebody up as such, you can, of course, just having a brain, you can kind of decide what the line is.
Well, you ask for consent with everything, right? You do it already.
But you can have it double checked by people of that community or people that are a little bit more knowledgeable than some people in that community.
So you're saying is if I dressed up in blackface, everybody would turn around and be like, I appreciate your passion, but you got to know that, like, hey,
there's limits.
You may not know that this is a thing.
Yeah.
So
and you know, if you're a full on, if you're a demon, and that's why you have and it goes with the rest of the
red
costume,
face, or
that's something. Yeah, but if you're doing it to push that line, probably rethink yourself.
Yeah, let's scare people, not like enrage them.
Right. And there's been a couple of times like in. They do Easter haunted houses, and of course Easter started out as a religious holiday. So yeah, you can have your demented bunnies and all that kind of stuff, but then when it comes to the religious side of things, people were upset that there was maybe somebody dressed up as a Jesus at a haunt and had to put the kibosh
on that specific
day.
Yeah,
you just kind of have to. It's one of those things where you kind of have to read the room. You know, like you do want to push the envelope and. I think we had John LaFlamboy, who is the owner and operator of Zombie Army Productions and Hell's Gate. They also did Statesville. They did a haunt at Riot Fest a couple years, and then The Fear at Navy Pier as well. And I think he put it in a really good perspective. He said, you know, as any haunt is going to be good, so long as it isn't racist, sexist, you know, like don't dabble into that. Just, you know, make it fun, make it entertaining, play some jokes other than just some scares. Because not everybody can be scared, but everybody can be entertained is kind of their motto.
Okay.
And just make sure it is entertaining. But bad haunts are the ones that are unsafe or are pushing those lines that it's like, well, I don't really know where you're going with that, and I don't think I want to know where you're going with that kind of stuff. So,
well, thanks for listening. WRMN out to lunch. We'll see you tomorrow.
It's fun for everyone. Grandstand thrills, pro champion bull riders, demo derby, music on the Miller Lite soundstage, classic car show, and more. Always free parking. Kane County Fair, July 17th through the 21st in St. Charles at the Kane County Fairgrounds. Visit kanecountyfair.com. Wow, it's here and it's fantastic. Brought to you in part by Ascension St. Joseph Elgin and Ascension Mercy Aurora and Miller Lite.
by love of food and wellness. Mockingbird Bar and Garden of East Dundee encourages you to eat seasonal and clean while still indulging a bit. Whether food is served fresh or wood-fired, nothing is overcomplicated. Mockingbird Bar and Garden promises to give your palate something delicious and new and aspires to be a hive of buzz and activity. Start your weekend with an espresso or complement dinner with wine, specialty cocktails, or craft beer. Visit mockingbirdbarandgarden.com today.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 1 o'clock.
With your AM 1410 WRMN Newsflash, I'm Sean Kernan. Brought to you by Linzess. Residents of Elgin have a unique opportunity to influence the future of local infrastructure at an upcoming public meeting on Thursday, July 18th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the center of Elgin. Community members can engage in discussions about the Chicago and Kimball Streets bridges. The identity of a young man killed by an off-duty Kane County Sheriff's Office deputy has been released. 18-year-old Tyquaz Nichols was shot and killed by an off-duty sheriff's deputy on July 8th. The shooting remains under investigation by the Kane County Coroner's Office and the Kane County Major Crimes Task Force. The Elgin Police Department have now confirmed that gunfire occurred on May 2nd in the 700 block of Bent Ridge Lane. Following an initial investigation which could not verify if a shooting had taken place, authorities are urging anyone with relevant information to come forward and help with the investigation. You can contact the Elgin Police Department for further information. With your AM 1410 WRMN Newsflash, I'm Sean Kernan.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's sea to shining sea and water damage as far as the eye can see. It's America. It's freshly mowed grass and a fence that was freshly vandalized by a pack of unruly teens. It's America. It's also round-the-clock protection when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Attention all burger enthusiasts and game aficionados. Celebrate a century of excellence at Mott's Lounge. Proudly serving the community for 100 years under 5 generations of passionate ownership. Sink your teeth into our hand-pressed fresh burgers bursting with flavor, crafted just the way you like them. And while you're here, enjoy our exclusive drink specials, perfect for toasting to our milestone anniversary. Plus, challenge your luck with our state-of-the-art gaming machines, adding an extra thrill to your visit. Join us at Mott's Lounge and be a part of history in the making. Here's to another century of great food, fun, and memories. Mott's Lounge, where every visit is a celebration. For more information, visit us online at mottslounge.com.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN. Major League Baseball pausing for the All-Star break. The Midsummer Classic is tomorrow night, 8 Eastern in Arlington, Texas. The always popular Home Run Derby is tonight. That's an 8 Eastern start time. Mets first baseman Pete Alonso looking to tie Ken Griffey Jr. with his 3rd Home Run Derby title. Hometown favorite and World Series hero Adolis Garcia trying to become the 4th Derby participant to win the contest in his home ballpark. Heading into the break, division leaders in the AL as Baltimore atop the East, Cleveland atop the Central, and the Mariners leading the AL West. The Philadelphia Phillies lead the NL East. They have the best record in baseball at 62-34. Milwaukee, the leader, atop the NL Central, with the Dodgers atop the NL West. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
As part of summer's greatest hits, it's the first ever Macy's All-Star Week. Join us for an incredible lineup of live events in store every day, like fashion shows, beauty demos, and more fun for the family. Now through Tuesday, July 23rd. Plus, shop our best summer deals, like 50% off swim, sandals, and more. And exclusives just for Star Rewards members. You don't want to miss this. Go to Macys.com/events to see what's at your local store. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables,
Blast off! As Circus World boldly goes where no circus has gone before. Feel the big bang as Tina the Human Cannonball flies high.
Defy gravity with an upside-down rocketeer. Perky poodles, soaring aerial acts. Plus, camels, llamas, horses, and ponies orbiting the ring.
Jugglers, zany comedy, and space cadet music invite you to Blast Off! To family fun at Circus World.
Open Book joins the WRMN lineup every Monday from 1 to 2 p.m. Tune in to Open Book with the Gale Borden Library as their team brings you the features and events the library offers. Educational, informational, and timely. Open Book includes the services Gale Borden Library offers, like the summer reading program. That's Open Book every Monday at 1 p.m. with the Gale Borden Library. Brought to you thanks to KCT Credit Union, where your financial well-being is their top priority.
Welcome to Open Book, the Gale Borden Library show dedicated to our vibrant community. Join us as we explore local stories, events, and engage with authors, community leaders, and residents who make Elgin extraordinary. Brought to you in part by KCT Credit Union, where your financial well-being is their top priority. And now, here's your host, Leah Unser.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to WRMN and Open Book. I'm happy to be here today. Of course, I hope everybody out there has been safe. I know there's been a lot of chaos going on in the world, and especially even locally. I'm going to play that up a little bit or just mention that because I happened to be driving in some of that weather last night. So I hope that I don't think I've ever had it a position where all cars were stopped. More cars were stopping than on the road. So always be safe for that. And this is when it comes to an information station. We have partnered up with our great friends over at the Gale Borden Library, and every Monday during Open Book, we have got that information coming your way. Open Book even started because we wanted to show all that info that pops up in that wonderful flyer that comes in the mail. We wanted to share with people exactly what is said in there and what's shared and all the services that the Gale Borden Library has to offer. So today I am welcoming Miss Rebecca Lipinski as well as Miss Martha Martinez and joining us in studio. So first of all, I'll say welcome, ladies. Absolutely. And the one thing, first of all, I said, I always try and talk with people a little bit ahead of time and just find out about the position. And I am so infatuated with this facility after doing Open Book because I was not aware that all these different services were offered. So to me, when we host this program every Monday from 1 until 2, it's a great treat. So I'm going to start it off with you, Miss Martha, because Rebecca, I want to talk to you a little bit also. We're going to be talking about what the positions are and the services that it provides for you, the GP, the general public. So Miss Martha, let's start with you. You are the social services person when it comes to the library. Is that right?
That's correct. That's correct.
And tell me what that means. So from somebody that would say, okay, I'm in that division, tell me what that means. Like if you had to do an elevator speech, what does that mean?
Well, curiously enough, when you talk about social services, it can encompass anything and everything. It's whatever people need help with. So they come in and they don't know where to go. They need that extra little help. And so they're coming to you because maybe they're looking to refer to somebody else in some other organization in the community, but they're not aware who or when. I can do that, and whatever I can't refer out, I try to do in-house.
And how long have you been with the library?
I actually just started as a full-time employee a year ago, February.
Okay.
So about a year and a half.
And what's your background when it came to bringing you to the social service division of the library?
Well, interestingly enough, but during the 2020 census, the library received a grant, and they really wanted to be involved in bringing more money into the community, and so they hired on someone to work, that was me, to go out there and try to enlist as many people as possible to participate in the census, to bring more resource into the community. So I worked for them on that project during the 2020 census. Then immediately after, we were hit by the pandemic, and they received another grant to go out there and try to help people who wanted to be vaccinated get their vaccine. As you may recall from that period of time, it was a really difficult thing to do. And for certain segments of our community, it was even doubly so because they didn't have the
necessary paperwork and things that they needed,
or
right?
the equipment, to go out and do those things online. So we did a lot of that for them. So I led a team of 5 people, and we really tried to bring vaccines to as many people as
Gosh,
wanted
can you
them.
guys remember that? Remember when the vaccines, when you would have to fight to get to 3 counties away just to get a shot?
Just to get a shot.
Right? Yeah. All the things that we've gone through in the last several, 5 years has been amazing to me. So the social services side of it, pretty much it becomes what the library is intended to. It becomes a resource center to help those that might not have access to those tools or to educate them on it.
Exactly. Previous to the position being open, our information services desk would assist people as best they could. But of course, people come in on a first-come, first-served basis. You've got a line of people that may be waiting, and you don't have the time to dedicate with the people that they need because maybe their request is a little bit more involved.
Right.
And so they had requested that there was a need for this position at the library. And, fortunately, our CEO there, Carol Metal at the library, saw that this was a need and set aside the resource they needed to fund this position and to open up space there at the library. I have an office on the 2nd floor.
Yay.
Yeah, next to the passport office. And so I work by appointment. Because, again, people generally who come in to see me need a little bit more time.
Right. That's the nice part about it when you can do that one-on-one service, too. Do you find out maybe when they're doing the appointment, like what the criteria is, what exactly they're looking for, so you know how much time to dedicate off the clock for them or off your schedule?
I do. I have a worksheet that either I fill out or the client fills out or the people at the information desk who meet the client the first time fill out. And I always ask, give me an idea of what you want to talk about if we're filling out a form. If you're looking to file for state services, or if you've got some sort of a legal problem. While I'm not an attorney and I don't pretend to be, many people...
She doesn't play one on TV, folks.
No, not at all. But many people can't afford to go visit an attorney. And so, I try to help them just from life experience as best I can with, providing options, with letting them know what's available to them. As you may know, and will be talked about a little bit more, we do offer the lawyer in the library once a month, and we also work with we have attorneys who come over to the library to do presentations. We work with our partners in other organizations that deal with more specialized services like immigration services, and so we work with our community partners to reference them.
I think this is the reason that I love doing Open Book is because no matter what, at some point, the conversation that we're talking about in an individual episode ticks one of my boxes. Do you know? It's either, okay, you know what? I know somebody who has no idea where to go with Social Security. If you might not be able to help them 100%, you are able to then direct them to some of the resources that our community has. I think that's the biggest issue is that individuals don't know that those resources are out there. I think that there's people that need that help and probably procrastinate or blow things off a little bit because they don't know where to start. So I would say for you, especially in the area of social services, Martha, that would be just to give a phone call to the library or come in and grab one of the worksheets to fill out. Is that right?
Exactly. Imagine, you mentioned Social Security, and that's one of those that I frequently get, people who are of retirement age that need to fill out their application. And nowadays, for the most part, they're done online. While you can make an appointment, it's way out there.
Yep.
And so people are interested in getting that done sooner than later. But if you're 65 and older, you may not necessarily know how to go and do that online. And so, those are the kinds of things that I can facilitate for them. And while I'm 65 and older, I grew up a little bit more in the technology world. So fortunately, I'm able to help them, and I understand, and I've been through the process myself. So it's just one of those things that life experiences allows me to help.
That, and first of all, when you appreciate that kind of life experience is why you want to know Martha anyway. But when you've gone through it yourself, you automatically want to start going out there and helping other people. When you've learned how the skill, because you know how difficult it was, maybe even for you, you were able to get educated or learn a little bit, or had somebody else kind of hand that information to you. To pay it forward. That's why I love this community more than anything else. I was talking even yesterday about, when they always talk about Social Security, they always say that you have to be 65 and older, and somebody was saying it was 62. Is that something that's changed in the last few years?
Well, you can actually start drawing on your retirement benefits at the age of 62. You won't get your full retirement amount that you would normally get. But for some people who either need the money because they have no other source of income, or have other sources of income that can supplement their Social Security, they'd prefer to start drawing as soon as possible. But certainly, it's one thing that you may not or may not know is that the full retirement age has kind of shifted up, because before it was always 65. You turn 65 and you can retire. Yep. So now it's still 65 for Medicare, but for retirement, it just depends on your birthday. For most of us, it's like 66 and a half.
See, that's what I mean. That's why this is important. That's why it's important to have Martha here. That's why it's important to have the library, and knowing that the services that they offer come to the table. So thank you for that. I'm going to put that on hold a second, and I want to introduce Miss Rebecca. Rebecca Lipinski is the Career Services Librarian. Now, I can see how you two would be interwoven quite a bit. Is that right?
Yeah, we definitely are. I'm Rebecca, and I am the Career Services Librarian at Gail Borden. So my role is to help folks with job seeking, career-related matters, lots of resume assistance, cover letters, that kind of thing, and to help people along in a changing online job seeking environment.
And how long have you been with the library?
Pretty well the same as Martha, maybe a little bit longer, just a bit over a year and a half.
So this sounds like there was an evaluation that came up, maybe it was with the census, like you were saying initially, Martha, that they realized that those are details that the community is inquiring about, that needs to know. So was it something that a grant came to the table and helped bring on the position because it wasn't there before, or did somebody hold the position prior to you there?
Someone held the position prior. There was a career services librarian that I replaced. And before that, this position has existed. Actually, it's been several years that we've had this role. It has been called different things over the years. It was once business librarian, amongst other things, but currently the role is titled Career Services Librarian.
What's your background that made you want this to take the position, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, before I was the Career Services Librarian, I was just a general reference librarian. So definitely reference librarians at the information desk on the second floor. We do field a lot of job-related questions, and I really did like that kind of work. Also have a bit of a technical writing background aside from librarianship, so it just kind of came together really nicely. And I love working with the public and on these kinds of things.
Well, and I can see if you went from reference to this, it's just a matter of specializing it on more than one skill instead of the general, right?
Definitely, and I still sit the reference desk as all the librarians do in the information services department. So I still get to kind of see what that customer need is one-on-one as a reference librarian as well.
What do you think is one of the most overlooked things when it comes to career services, or when it comes to, career services when somebody is applying for a job?
I think people are still acclimating to the new online job application environment. Let's put it that way.
There's no more stopping in and asking for a resume and sitting down and, I mean, that still works, so I don't want to downplay that, but yeah. If you're looking for careers, you're going to have to step up your game a little bit.
Yeah, I think people are adjusting to that, and now there's new things that are taking effect, like AI-generated chatbots that will come and help people apply for jobs, and some of it looks, a little suspect if you're not super tech savvy. So we definitely assist with a lot of that kind of stuff more and more.
Yeah, because if we're applying for a job, we want ours to be front and center, right?
Yep. People are still getting adjusted to the not handing someone an application and going and knocking on doors.
Yeah, don't prevent them from seeing your mad skills just because you decided not to take on a little extra work. Believe me, it'll help you in the long run. We're going to take our first commercial break. This is Open Book with the Gail Borden Library, brought to you by KCT Credit Union. Out there for your financial well-being, it is kctcu.org for more information. We'll be back with more one-on-one in just a bit.
Let me tell you a story about Bill. Bill was a normal guy in his 50s. He had back surgery about 2 years ago. Bill was in a lot of pain. He dealt with his pain by taking the Percocets his doctor prescribed for him. Bill took more and more and more of them to help with the pain, until one day the prescriptions weren't enough to get rid of Bill's pain. Then one day Bill found someone to help him get rid of the pain with illegal drugs he didn't need a prescription for. Fast forward to today. Bill lost his job and his family. The only thing he does have is his drug dealer. If you know Bill's story and you don't want to end up like Bill, call the Detox and Treatment Helpline right now to get away and get treatment.
800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. Call right now. Help is standing by. 800-694-1127.
Let me tell you a story about Bill. Bill was a normal guy in his 50s. He had back surgery about 2 years ago. Bill was in a lot of pain. He dealt with his pain by taking the Percocets his doctor prescribed for him. Bill took more and more and more of them to help with the pain, until one day the prescriptions weren't enough to get rid of Bill's pain. Then one day Bill found someone to help him get rid of the pain with illegal drugs he didn't need a prescription for. Fast forward to today. Bill lost his job and his family. The only thing he does have is his drug dealer. If you know Bill's story and you don't want to end up like Bill, call the Detox and Treatment Helpline right now to get away and get treatment.
800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. Call right now. Help is standing by. 800-694-1127.
Microsoft has new computers that put AI first, this special category called Copilot Plus PCs. They have minimum specs plus a chip just for AI. The company unveiling the first Surface devices with the designation, powered by Qualcomm chips, not Intel. One notable AI feature is called Recall. It lets your computer remember everything you do so that you can find files, images, and websites later. More tech news tips on Rich on Tech.
Every Saturday from 1 to 4, right here on WRMN.
Searching for a financial partner that truly has your best interest at heart? Join KCT Credit Union, where they're more than just a bank. They're a not-for-profit financial cooperative. KCT members are owners, meaning profits go back to you in the form of lower loan rates, higher savings rates, and fewer fees. Experience personalized service that puts you first. Become a part of KCT, where your financial well-being is their top priority. Visit kctcu.org. Each account insured up to $250,000 by member's choice. This institution is not federally insured.
WRMN has been serving Elgin and the Fox Valley for 75 years, featuring a combination of local news, information, and entertainment in the mornings, followed by the radio shopping show for 5 hours each weekday. The first shift with Marky B starts your morning at 6 a.m., and it's always fun when Larry Jones is a part of the show.
Maybe we need to get a radio intern in to help.
Maybe so.
Somebody that you won't have to pay and you can treat him tough.
I can haze them.
Can't haze, you'll get fired. Remember that guy from Northwestern?
Yeah.
Gone.
Did he really do it?
You don't have to really do it. If somebody says you did,
yeah,
good enough. Maybe I'm going to accuse you of hazing me. I don't have to prove it.
And then there will be a lot of people that come out of the
and
say
say,
that I also hazed
I
them.
remember when Mark hazed me. I've been hazed.
Mark hazed me back in 2012.
2012. I remember in Memphis one time. He was really mean to me.
It's first shift fun and information in the morning, combined with the radio shopping show to save you money. And you get it right here on WRMN AM 1410, WRMN 1410 Radio on Facebook, and WRMN1410.com.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Leah. It is One-on-One, heard every Monday from 1 until 2. One-on-One is with the Gail Borden Library and brought to us by our friends at KCT Credit Union, where your financial well-being is their top priority. Today, we have two wonderful guests joining us in studio. We started off the show with Miss Martha Martinez, who is with the Social Services Department at the Gail Borden Library, and then moved over to Miss Rebecca Lipinski. Rebecca is the Career Services Librarian, and we left it off when we were talking during that last break, just finding a little bit more about what the department does. You have been around there and bring up the services. We started talking about resumes. Is it just to do with career opportunities, or are there other areas of the department that you deal with, Rebecca?
A little bit as well. Like I mentioned earlier, the position used to be called business librarian, so I also help folks with entrepreneurial related questions. Maybe they're looking to do some market research, they have a business they'd like to start up, a small business, so I'll sometimes field those kinds of questions as well. Sometimes businesses who are looking to grow might come in with questions and need a little advanced research, so definitely do some advanced reference questions / research questions as well for the business community.
Which is fantastic. Like I said, if you guys didn't know these services were available, it's right up the street. I've asked everybody that I've come in during the term of us sponsoring or bringing Open Book to the table. And are the services like you and Martha provide, is that with all of the district, like all of the locations, or is it always at the main library? If you don't mind me asking that, I'm curious.
I am definitely at the main library. It's never come up to have to go to South Elgin or Wacow, but if a customer was so inclined that they needed me to meet them there, I would definitely do that. I also do a lot just by email and phone, so somebody might give me a ring and I'll consult with them about something and maybe provide feedback in person, but maybe provide feedback by email.
Makes sense. Let's talk a little bit. You had mentioned there's several things that you have on your agenda and some in the department. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, we have two different ongoing programs that I think are awesome and we'd like everyone to know about. So one of them is called Career Coach in the Library. This is a collaboration with the Illinois WorkNet Center called WorkNet Batavia. If people don't know what that is, the Illinois WorkNet Centers are government-funded organizations that really exist to enhance and support the Illinois workforce. So WorkNet Batavia addresses Kane, Kendall, and DeKalb counties.
Okay.
And they come into the library twice a month, the first and the third Tuesdays of the month. They're from 1 to 4. It's a walk-in program, and they can just really help anyone with career-related matters, resumes and cover letters, job hunting, job seeking, anything at all related to a job search. They also are a first point of contact for WIOA. WIOA is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act.
That was my next question there. So the say it again?
Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. It's quite the mouthful.
Yeah.
But this is federal legislation that allows eligible people to receive funding to be trained in a particular career or retrained.
Okay.
Again, this is all looking towards workforce development. So it's kind of like a scholarship. People can receive money for vocational training, community college level. There's even some university programs covered. There's a lot of programs covered by WIOA. So WorkNet is one of those first points of contact to starting that whole application process and getting that funding.
The one thing I like about that is it's never too late for somebody to change a career. You know, when you know you've got these kind of resources, sometimes we say, you know, I'm just too old to go start all over again. And that's not the case. You know, there's so many organizations like this that might help you get funding or at least direct you even how to do that. Do you ever get people who are looking for grants or other ways that they can extend their education?
Yeah, we definitely do. And it's funny you mentioned that because retraining is definitely one of the core focuses of WIOA. So there's definitely a lot of second careers or career changers. Career changing in general is kind of a trend right now.
Yeah.
So to your point, yeah, we definitely encounter that quite a bit. Career training and I'd say career exploration is another trend that we see a lot. Me as a career services librarian and definitely WorkNet as that ongoing career coach program. Lots of career exploration.
Tell me what that means. I mean, obviously I know what explore means, but tell me what that entails when it comes to the library.
So people just are kind of curious what options there are for careers out there. There are a lot of new careers. There's a lot of growing careers in fields like manufacturing, healthcare, and technology. And there's a lot more to explore than ever, and a lot of highly specialized fields that exist now that didn't several years back.
You know, I was, at some point, somebody is either, especially during COVID, when a lot of people had lost the positions, lost their jobs during COVID, and some of them had to start over because it was difficult when the world ended up going the route of getting rid of the senior, more experienced people because maybe their income was a little bit higher, and started downplaying things and started taking away some of those expenses by having maybe newer people in those positions that they could pay less money to, right?
Yep.
And so if it was somebody in that element that, had to start all over, I knew people who were in the banking industry for many decades and all of a sudden lost their job and had to start all over.
Yep.
That can be overwhelming. So did they come to you or would they be able to come to the resources like at the Gail Borden Library to help assist them and give them a little direction?
Absolutely. That's something we would help them with at the reference desk, or they could contact me directly for a little help with that. And definitely the Career Coach program. They're really amazing, and they're able to help on that level as well. And directly going to WorkNet Batavia, that's another option.
Is the career program, is that ongoing or is that certain days when those things are available, just like the Batavia?
Yeah, it's the Career Coach program is the first and third Tuesdays of the month.
Okay.
It's all year round. It's a walk-in program. That's really important to know. So you don't have to register for this. You can just come into the library at your convenience between 1 and 4 on those 2 Tuesdays a month. And a career coach is there to assist. She is also, currently the career coach is a Spanish speaker, which is amazing for our many bilingual customers.
Mm-hmm. And I think, too, I've always said that if any bilingual position that is out there is going to be a benefit to you, just because even if you're going to be planning on working in Elgin with the population, if you look at the statistics and the demographics, that you're going to be able to excel and maybe even be considered if somebody needs to have that Spanish-speaking person on staff, right?
Absolutely.
Now, we were saying that going to the resume route, that some people, it's very difficult or you don't know where to start. Like I said, if somebody says, and I've been in this career for several years, many, many years, and I know the things that I can do, but I might not realize they're significant maybe for the job that I'm applying for. Mm-hmm. Can you help kind of like pull those out, if I say this is what I'm looking to do and maybe help me out when it comes to that resume?
Yeah, I do a lot of resume assistance myself, and WorkNet can also assist with that. There's definitely specialized situations that occur and people aren't exactly sure how to approach them on their resume. So I can definitely help enhance, edit, maybe specify a resume for a particular job. People tend to undersell themselves on their resume.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's really common, regardless of the nature of the work they do. And we would like to boost that for folks so they have the best candidacy for roles they're looking for.
One person told me once to always investigate the job that you're applying for and identify what it is that they're looking for in the position to hire. And if you have those under your belt, if you've got that experience, those are the things you should always highlight on your resume.
Yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice.
Do you ever recommend when somebody's got like a general resume, just because of that point, this is just off the top of my head, there's some of them that I might even alter my resume a little bit depending on where I'm applying.
Yep, that's very common. Something to keep in mind now is that the automated tracking systems are very common.
What does that mean?
An ATS, automated tracking system, is a piece of software basically that scans resumes for employers ahead of time. So
I busted somebody on that once. Somebody was applying for it, and I was like, man, I swear I've heard that phrase once before. And so I looked it up.
Yep, they're getting more popular, especially with large companies, because it's expensive software, and you would need to have a large number of candidates coming in to even need this kind of software. Mm-hmm. But it does, it takes some it's a shortcut basically for their HR team to go ahead and pre-scan people or pre-qualify
Weed them out a
candidates.
little bit.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because even from a hiring position, that does get a little overwhelming too. So it's nice to actually bring the qualified candidates. Everybody thinks that they have all the tools, but in actuality, it's not necessarily the right?
That is absolutely true.
Have you ever had to say to somebody that, you know what, might I career, or maybe somebody comes in and says, I have no idea what to do? I mean, do you ever help kind of wheedle down what they might be good for or what might be a good direction for them?
Yeah, in that case, we'd probably point them to some career assessment tools. WorkNet actually has some good things on their website. There are some free tools out there where people can take quick quizzes. They're actually kind of fun, and maybe narrow it down to certain fields of interest. There's also good resources that are in print if that's someone's preference. The Occupational Outlook Handbook is an old tool that is amazing. It's a big, thick book that has a list of basically all the careers according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor statistics. So
what a great tool. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
All right. So some of the programs. So what you say of the career coaching, the first and third Tuesday of the month.
Yep.
And then you mentioned the WorkNet. Do you have other programs that are available at the library that we might want to let the listeners know about?
Yeah, for sure. Martha just pointed to this. Our Lawyer in the Library program is extremely popular and for good reason. So this is a collaboration with the Kane County Law Library and Self-Help Legal Center. They are at the Kane County Judicial Center in St. Charles. They are actually a working law library there. They are an amazing staff, a small but mighty team, much like WorkNet. And they are award-winning law library, actually. But we collaborate with them to put on this Lawyer in the Library program. So how this works is in line with the Career Coach program. It's a walk-in program, no registration required. And it's the fourth Thursday of the month. They don't come in for November, December, and March. So 9 months of the year, they're there in the evening. And people come in, they have to check in with the Kane County staff, the Kane County Law Library staff, and then they wait to see an attorney. We have 3 volunteer attorneys that come and just dedicate their time to folks, and everyone gets a 15-minute one-on-one legal consultation.
Awesome.
As we know, lawyers are very expensive, and we find that people come with questions like, do I even need to see a lawyer for this? Say they have a situation that's arisen and they don't even know if this is something that requires legal assistance. So a very great point of contact is this 15-minute consultation.
And finally, sometimes counsel is not needed.
That's exactly right.
Something that you can do yourself. You just have to have a little direction and the necessary paperwork to file.
Yep, and they can help with e-filing, they can help with legal forms, they can help with other resources if that's required as well. Yeah, and it's an amazing collaboration.
And I will say, too, I've already gone to the Gov site and had to fill out some forms, and even that can get overwhelming because you're not sure which form to fill out, what it's needed. You can read, I can read. I've managed to handle that tool, but it does get overwhelming. Now, I'm going to kind of direct it over real quickly, and we're going to come back to you because I want to hear about some of the other services that you have at the library. But Martha, let me go back to you on that case because we were talking a little bit about social services that is offered over at the Gail Borden Library, and I was talking about Social Security, which you kind of leaned to in the first segment. I said I had just gotten something from an email that had said, listen, they're changing the way that you can go on to check your status for Social Security. And instinctively, just because we were having a conversation, my gut said, okay, why did that come up right now when we were automatically having that conversation? And are there any kind of like scams, or because you said be careful what it is that you apply for, especially if there's links associated with it.
That's exactly true. I mean, people will come into the office where they get a piece of mail and, they don't read the fine print. You see those checks that come out where, cash it. But then on the back in the fine print, it says you're agreeing to do this by endorsing this check. That's exactly the kinds of things that many people are vulnerable to. So they'll come in. As Rebecca had mentioned, and you have mentioned also, half of our community here is Spanish speaking. And so much of this comes in English, and they need it translated. They need to understand what's going on. Likewise, going clicking on links that they get in text messages, because now the more of that unsolicited texting.
Especially wait till now we've got an election year coming up. It's even going to get worse. Yeah.
Exactly. And people, they make them look so good and so real that people will just click on it. And for people who are fearful of, staying with the law on things, such as anything having to do with taxes and things like that.
Yep.
If they're told that they owe something or that their services are going to be shut off, they just are very vulnerable to going and clicking on links to try to address the problem. And so towards that effect, actually, I do belong to an organization, the Triad organization, composed of police departments, the township, and organizations that render services to seniors.
Miss Sherry's on the show once.
Yes,
Yep.
and she probably already touted this as well. This Thursday at the Senior Center, they're going to have a session on scams and estate planning, and so anybody who's interested in that should participate in that, and they will, of course, give you the latest and the greatest that's happening in that area.
Yeah, don't fall for those resources, guys. Trust me. Sometimes your instinct wants to say, I'm just going to correct it myself or figure it out and do some follow-up. Don't, because one click can take you down a rabbit hole that you do not want to go to. We're going to take another quick commercial break. We're going to come back with Miss Martha and Miss Rebecca from the Gail Borden Library on this edition of Open Book. We'll be back in just a bit.
Discover the authentic taste of Italy at Massiano's Pizza and Pastaria of Elgin. There is one inexhaustible aspect of everyday life that never dulls, namely the simple pleasure of eating and drinking. Massiano's wants to make sure that this is the best part of your day. Visit Massianos.com and sign up to view their special offers all year long. Delivery, carry out, or dine in, enjoy it anyway, because life is good at Massiano's.
Filla's 3 locations offer much more than their signature Italian beef. Try the Italian sausage, roasted chicken, and more. There's a big variety of delicious side dishes. Beef Villa uses quality ingredients from homemade recipes, and they purchase top-of-the-quality food products from their vendors to bring you the absolute best tasting of foods. Beef Villa's great service and quality are waiting for you, but you won't be waiting long because it's always hot and fresh. Visit beefvilla.com.
Everyone has a community to lean on, a neighborhood, school, kids' teams, where you worship, work out, or any other place or group where you choose to belong. Communities can provide support when you need it, and even when you don't know you do. Like when it comes to preventing underage drinking and other substance use. You've talked with your kids and shared clear expectations, but you're not with them every minute. Your community members, friends and relatives, teachers and coaches, faith leaders, and other important adults in your kids' lives can be your eyes, ears, and a supportive influence when you're not around, reinforcing your messages with your kids and alerting you to warning signs of underage drinking or other substance use. So talk with your kids about these issues and involve the members of your community to help keep your kids safe, because when you talk, they hear you.
Clocking out? Drive home with the Drive Time Deal with Matt McNeil on WRMN 1410 AM every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. I bring you the hottest deals in town, the most intriguing stories, and the tracks that take the edge off rush hour. Tune in on 1410 AM. Catch us on YouTube Live at WRMN Radio or stream through our app. I've got the wheel to steer your evening right. WRMN 1410 AM, your home of radio shopping and the soundtrack to your commute.
Rise and shine, Fox Valley listeners. It's time to kickstart your day with First Shift with Marky B on WRMN 1410 AM. From 6 to 9 a.m., join the chatter that gets you clued in with the latest buzz around town. Don't just sip on your coffee. Let Marky B brew your morning with the perfect mix of news, views, and moves. Dial us in or live stream at WRMN1410.com and make your mornings a whole lot brighter. WRMN 1410 AM. We're the voice of the Valley, and we're here to talk.
This is McGruff the Crime Dog, and I need you to help me take a bite out of crime. Counterfeit products are popping up everywhere. Fake sneakers, fake cosmetics, and even fake pills. Crooks are selling counterfeit versions of just about everything. Last year, billions of dollars worth of counterfeit products were sold in the U.S. Sure, it may seem like saving a few bucks on the things you want isn't a big deal, but counterfeits are usually made in unsafe conditions, potentially using hazardous and even lethal ingredients that could harm you and others. And the money you've paid, it goes right into the hands of criminals and may support child labor, drugs, and even gangs. Smells like big crime to me. So if you still think buying fake products is harmless, think again. And remember, if you don't know where the products came from, how could you know where the money goes? You're smart, buy smart. Go for real. Learn more at mcgruffpsa.org. This message is brought to you by the United States Patent and Trademark Office and the National Crime Prevention Council.
Welcome back, my friends. This is Leah with Open Book, heard every Monday here from 1 until 2. If you've never had the chance to follow along, well, you might want to mark your calendar for next week, Monday, and the next edition, always from 1 to 2 on Mondays. Open Book is brought to you by KCT Credit Union. Become a part of KCT. You'll know that your financial well-being is taken care of. To learn more information, you can go to kctcu.org. Today, we've had the pleasure of speaking with Miss Rebecca and Miss Martha, and talking a little bit about the Career Services Librarian, which is what Rebecca does, and Martha runs the Social Services area. And we were talking a little bit, other than the services that people require, you said there's some other categories when it comes to like employment and things like that that almost overlap, or housing. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Martha?
Of employment, I complement that portion of it with Rebecca, because of course we have a lot of Spanish speaking that come in and are looking for jobs. And actually something that has changed, not just for Spanish speaking, but for everyone in general, is that before, if you were looking for a manufacturing job or a service industry job or hotels or whatever, you didn't really need a resume. You went in and filled out an application, and that was it. And nowadays, it's not just a matter of filling out an application. They're asking for resumes. And so people are very challenged to, what do I put on a resume when I'm looking for a manufacturing job, and that sort of a thing. And as Rebecca had alluded to earlier, what we help them with is bring out the skill set that they have, because even if they were in manufacturing, there may be very specialized machines that they were working on that they should note there, because perhaps the next employer is looking for that kind of a background or that kind of skill set. And so we help them bring out and highlight those things that will help them get noticed and overcome the software that Rebecca mentioned earlier that tries to weed out people, you know, so that an employer will take a second look at your resume.
And just because it's a perfect segue here, I'm going to take that over to Rebecca. Rebecca, you had mentioned something even about doing some like mock job interviews, or helping people if maybe they haven't done an interview in a long time. We all get a little rusty at things. Is that something, again, how your two departments interweave, that you guys can do some job interviews?
Yeah. So the Career Coach in the Library program, they definitely will field questions related to job interview skills, but we do have a one-time program thanks to our collaboration with WorkNet Batavia, and it is called literally Mock Job Interviews. It's coming up on August the 27th, which is a Tuesday, and career coaches from WorkNet Batavia are going to be at the library, and they're going to allow folks to come in for a one-on-one 20-minute pretend job interview. So we definitely hear from folks that job interviews can be intimidating. They haven't done one in a while. Various things come up that make people feel a little bit leery of the job interview process. So this program is in response to customer need and also thanks to WorkNet's flexibility and openness to new ideas.
You know what I incorporate that with, if you think about something that's as important in your life, like when you sell a home, some people will do things to stage a home, or you clean it up and you polish it up a little bit because you want it to appeal a little bit more attractive, right? To the individual who's going to be coming in following you. The same thing should really go with jobs, right? I mean, you want to make them recognize the skills that you have. And like I said, some people, it's very hard to kind of toot their own horn. You know, it's hard for them to say, yes, I worked on this machinery, which might be ideal for the potential employer, that they just don't, put the two and two together. Now, I kind of equated that back to housing, so now I want to bump it back over to Martha, because do you guys deal with a lot of housing? I know you talked about the bilingual access that we have at the Gail Borden Library.
Again, housing is actually probably our number one request consistently month after month.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because people are out there looking for housing, affordable housing, which, of course, we have very little of that, not just in Elgin, but in the surrounding communities. So people are always very challenged with finding affordable housing on their own. And so they'll come into the office and to see if there's, anything, websites that we can go to help them look for it, and it is difficult. I think market-based pricing housing is available pretty readily, but affordable housing is very hard, especially for a family if you're looking for more than a bedroom. I mean, we see a lot of people now looking for just single rooms because the price of a single room.
Afford.
Yeah, before you might be able to find a one-bedroom unit for $600 to $800. Well, a year and a half ago you might have. Nowadays you cannot. You can get maybe a room for that amount that you're going to have to have shared spaces with. You're looking into a one-bedroom, and now you're into $1,200, $1,300, $1,400. A two-bedroom is more like $1,800 to $2,000. A three-bedroom is $2,000 to $3,000. Well, that's more than most people's mortgages are now.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think even a two-bedroom is more than what my mortgage is. For individuals,
Exactly.
I couldn't even imagine having to go and try and find housing right now.
Exactly right. So certainly we help with that. There are people also that sometimes are facing evictions, people ex-incarcerated that are just coming out and looking for housing, and people like in those situations are in especially dire situations because, of course, if you're being evicted, then you're probably, from a landlord's perspective, not the best candidate for,
you're not getting good
the
reference,
next tenant.
Yeah, right.
And then people are reluctant also to give people a second chance when they're out there recently released and that sort of a thing. So we get very challenging situations at the library, but we try to help as best we can with whatever comes available.
So is there resources for, because this is the whole thing. It's costing more to rent than it is to if you have a mortgage these days. I mean, I know if you're going to buy a house, you're going to have mortgage and the interest rates are a lot higher than what they were. In my world, it would cost me more to rent than to have a mortgage. Now, I at least got to go to a bank and say, okay, can I take out a loan for my mortgage to buy my house? And so I arrange it with the bank to get that tax cut. You can't do something like that to take a loan out for rent.
You cannot. And furthermore, now you have a security deposit, which usually is at least twice as much.
Right.
So now you're having to do a double payment. And so imagine that's the situation for many people who are already of limited resources. It's a very challenging situation. I mean, we've reverted, unfortunately, to have to know of somebody who's being evicted and say, oh, well, this unit is going to become available. And it's not the way we want to do it, but it is going to be a unit that becomes available. Exactly. That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I feel like. But again, things like that you find out, or somebody's moving out of town, and so okay, well, you know what, give me your address, because now maybe I have candidates that can come and apply for that, and and that's the way we can help.
And I have to say hats off to you guys, because I had asked Martha during the break and Rebecca at the same time. I was like, how do you find out all this information? Because I know that there's things that we find out after the fact that have been happening in Elgin. You can get out there and go to a whole bunch of different meetings, but it's still a matter of doing research, doing your homework. Again, maybe taking on 3 more meetings than you did the week before, just to kind of get your head wrapped around all of those resources. You have to do the same, right? Like you had mentioned, you go out to a lot of organizations and meetings to find out about it.
I do. I go out and visit the shelters so that I know what the facilities are like, because people will come. Sometimes when we have our, the homeless who are looking for a roof over their heads, and I need to be able to tell them what kinds of services they can expect, what the requirements are. Same thing for where we provide, the community provides food and hot meals and groceries for people of limited resources. So we go out there and meet with the organizations, participate in monthly meetings where organizations come and provide their updates. Well, these aren't generally open to the public, so we gather all that information and share it as it comes available. And then again, many organizations, their functions change over time, either because of limited resources, or maybe they get a grant that funds them to do something more that they weren't able to do previously.
Right.
And all those, that's what my job is, to stay on top of all of those things so that when people come and need something, I can readily either direct them to the organization that can help them or help them myself.
Which is fantastic. And Rebecca, coming back to you a little bit, we've been talking about some of the different programs that the library has to offer. You too then have to, kind of funnel these and group them together. So when somebody comes, first of all, I'm going to recommend this resource, Open Book. If there's anybody out there that is thinking of moving to Elgin or this, in the community here, if you are thinking about that, I would automatically tell you to go to the library or whatever town you're going to be moving to or city you're going to be moving to. Go to that, because they've kind of lassoed all of this bulk of information that can help you expedite your move, make it a little bit easier, less stressful. Moving over to you, Rebecca, like I said, with some of the programs, and you guys always have to do your homework. When it comes to the resumes and finding a job, do you often have people, honestly, I think that a lot of people come to you when they're almost at their wit's end. Are you seeing that? Like, okay, I forget, or do you have some people that just come to you raw knowing that this tool is available?
I'd say it's a bit of both.
Is it?
We definitely, as an organization, and the nature of libraries in general is to be kind of careful curators of trusted resources. So I think for those who are in the know that libraries form, that's their scope and mission, then we'll see them maybe beforehand, before it gets kind of desperate times. And then sometimes people will just hear about things from the community, knowing that we exist for resumes and job hunting. Might not come to their mind immediately, but they'll hear about it elsewhere and pop in. But yeah, it's a bit of a mix.
Yeah, or there was a lot of, you had mentioned too, that there are tools that the library has, or equipment that the library has that might not be readily affordable, that somebody can't pay for that software. That's something that the library has. Can you give a couple examples of that, just to let people know what is available there that they don't invest in, that it could be used for free here?
Yeah, sure. We have a lot of online databases. We have apps that are very similar to Amazon Audible. Hoopla, Libby, and Cloud Library are the 3 that I'm thinking of. Those are going to be ebook and audiobook purveyors, where you can access all kinds of digital resources that might help you in your job search or business development. And then also we have databases through various providers. I'm thinking of one that would be helpful for job seekers called the Career and Job Accelerator. That can help them build resumes and cover letters, and there's online training classes in there. So these are definitely subscription databases that no one would want to pay for on their own.
Right, absolutely. Are you finding that anybody is straying people? I'm almost hesitant to bring this up, but when there's so much AI right now, that I know my son said, I think when I had asked one time about a resume, and he says, well, put it and plug it to AI. And I said, yeah, but I feel like, you were talking about if somebody's going to duplicate it and say the same thing. If anything, that's eventually going to be AI, because it's not a person. They're not getting to know you as an individual.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. We were just talking about that at the library the other day. The nature of the resume and the cover letter and the job interview, I think, is going to change. We're also seeing a lot of pre-screening interviews. There's some employment software now where HR departments are pre-screening people through like a one-way interview, where the person will download software and then they'll engage in a literally answering questions to a camera, and then that will eventually be screened by an HR department, and they'll be called in for an interview or not. So essentially, I do think that a lot of the focus on the job interview is going to become more impactful, and people are going to really need those communication skills, those interpersonal skills, because everyone's resume may potentially be perfection.
There you go. And that's why you need to check out the Gail Borden Library. Rebecca Lipinski and Miss Martha Martinez, I want to thank both of you for joining us today. We're at the end of this edition of Open Book. Folks, you can check out the Gail Borden, I think it's gailbordeninfo.com, correct? If somebody wants to go.
gailborden.info.
And would you tell them to recommend any certain department, or is it just the gailborden.info is the best way?
I would say that's a good start.
All right. Thank you, ladies, so much. I appreciate you and all you do for the community. This has been Open Book. Have a great week.
Searching for a financial partner that truly has your best interest at heart? Join KCT Credit Union, where they're more than just a bank. They're a not-for-profit financial cooperative. KCT members are owners, meaning profits go back to you in the form of lower loan rates, higher savings rates, and fewer fees. Experience personalized service that puts you first. Become a part of KCT, where your financial well-being is their top priority. Visit kctcu.org. Each account insured up to $250,000 by Members' Choice. This institution is not federally insured.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 2 o'clock.
Your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Even if you've applied before, they may be eligible now. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. And if they already